Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I'm your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions. On Facebook, we got a couple closed Facebook groups for roadies. One called Death by Loadout and another one called The Backstage Pass. Come on out and check it out. See us there. I'm sitting next to me here, my good friend, Kyle Thomas. How you doing, big bro?
Not too bad. How about yourself, big dog?
Oh, man, I got a spring in my step. I'm feeling happy. I got good people around me. We're sitting here on a new set.
I know. Look at you, you're glowing.
I'm just prettier is what happened, you know, and we made that happen. So it's my lighting guys. Listen, I got to send out some love to the lighting guys. Alan Pettibone, P-Bone we call him, and Ryan Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
Those guys killed it. This place looks incredible.
Yeah, they hooked us up big. We love those guys, and we really appreciate all their hard work. Thank you, guys. And we got to stretch out a little bit in an effort to be, it's kind of crazy time, you all know that. And so we're trying to be more mindful of distance and behavior and so on. So another reason for the set. Plus, coming in the future, we'll tell you more stuff we're doing here with live streaming, training, different stuff, again, in a safe way, which also accounts for the new set. So we hope you like it. We spent some time on it. What have you been doing this week?
I've been here. I've been building this.
Oh, yeah. I put you to some homework, though.
You have. And I've also, I've come up with some great learning tools for us.
Fantastic.
I found this great program. I really thought into kind of looking at maybe a change of pace for some people in this slow period away from, something they could directly correlate to our industry that would be applied maybe while they were working. Now is more the time for like techs or somebody that's not necessarily white gloving or doing these mixed positions to get that knowledge.
Are you talking about stretching out the skill set a little bit? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, or, refocusing for broadcast or any of these avenues.
Sure.
I've kind of found this place, Peer Mind has offered $100 for an hour of a one-on-one time with like an industry professional, maybe in like video games or something that you would want to correlate with your knowledge base that you have currently, or tying it back into a live sound aspect in your own approach.
Very clever.
But it's really affordable. It's all referenced on their website. So if you go check out Peer Mind online, there should be a list of information. It's based in SF. They also have like a bunch of other courses if you wanted to get into some more time. They're all relatively affordable. But, Rational Acoustics, like I said last week, is still posting up their webinars. You still have your L Acoustics Sound Vision stuff that's coming up. Like I said, 3.1.6 just came out 2 weeks ago, maybe longer. I might be stuck in a COVID loop there, but these things are still really important. And I felt like it was important to get some information away from maybe the core, brunt of the workload that most of us are experiencing in this off time, which is a lot of non-creative, non-enjoyable things in a lot of respects. So,
well, it sounds like a good way to spend time and to, broaden your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, the other two that I'll quickly just give a little shout out to is like if you're sitting in your car listening around and you want a good, perspective is working class audio. I found that that's like a great thing to just turn on in the car and listen to.
What, is it a podcast?
It's a podcast. Uh-huh. You can find it on Spotify. Good perspective. A little bit more of a studio perspective, but great nonetheless. Very similar to our program in a lot of respects. Yeah, I guess we'll stop there. I'll give you yours. I got so many, dude. You gave me a task, and I got a list of them for you.
I like that, though. No, I want us to be able to disseminate information to folks out there, kind of be a little light. Like, we're playing with tools, with our toys, and trying to shoot proof of concept that, we can live stream out of here, we can do certain things. And it allows us to work on our chops. We got Mikey in the back over here. We always shout out to Mikey, playing with the RF mixing, switching. He's kind of doing everything. He's kind of a badass.
Sure is.
Yeah, but it keeps him fresh, and so I highly support that. As you know, we've got the continued S6L training with Robert Scoville going on. Actually, we have Shauna Hall in again tonight. Hi, Shauna. Hey, Shauna. She always comes in. She's training full. And I think you got a date coming up with Deanne Franklin from Pink.
I sure do. Yeah.
yeah.
Sometime next week she's gonna
Something like that. I
stop in.
don't know if she's gotten back to us. Yeah, on what the date is, but she's coming in.
Sure.
And that will be enjoyable. She's great. Right on. Well, we're constantly on the hunt. We know a lot of people for folks that work in different segments of the industry. And sometimes we get a guy who's worked in most of the lanes that I recognize as the audio world and what we do, because there are different lanes, as you well know. Tonight was no exception. We did good. We got a really great guy we worked with, that just a sweetheart of a guy. He's worked as a venues guy over at the Fox. He's worked in-house with Delicate, Sound on Stage, Sound Image, done some big shows. A great guy, currently working over at Dolby Laboratories. And we want to welcome to the show, it's Mr. Sebastian Poux.
Thank you so much.
How you doing, Big Dad?
Good, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's just great to see you. You haven't changed a lick since the last time we did.
Probably got a little older. I had a kid.
You had a kid.
Last, and so I've probably aged for sure. Probably the lighting that you got now.
You look sprung and very fresh. And we got to give some credit to the lighting guys again.
Right.
But yeah, you're a new daddy.
Yeah.
You digging that?
Yeah, 16 months now. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive stuff.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, congratulations to my wife, really.
It is a tough gig, it turns out. The whole being a parent thing.
And the lockdown is not helping either.
Oh, and then you mix that in and...
Yeah, just throw a little bit on top. It's all good, but...
Well, how are you? And when I usually ask the question, hey, how you doing, it's kind of a reference to these last 3 months in particular. 3, 4, what is it, 4 months going on 4?
I know, right?
How you handling it in the family?
It's all right. It's all right. Thankfully, I still have my job. My wife still has her job. So although we're locked down at home, hey, we got to be thankful. I got to be thankful because I know particularly, the industry or kind of everybody in their industry is kind of hurting. So, yeah, I'm actually quite the opposite. We've been pretty much heads down in work because turns out that when your work knows that you're at home and available, then they'll just make sure that you're working.
So they're burying you in it.
Yeah, well,
I know you love what you do, so that's got to be one of those good problems.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. We're not also fortunate, but we like to hear of the fortunate. Give us a little hope for the future.
And I'll say that, hey, spending time with my kid and seeing him every day at any hour of the day that I want to go see him, that's a huge bonus.
It's got to be.
You know what I mean?
Got to be. Yeah, this is such a special time.
I would have missed so many hours if I was actually going into work every day and coming back. I mean, I got to be thankful for that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. So here on the show, I personally love this. Yours is we want to hear the origin story, how you got into the business, but yours is a particularly interesting route. First of all, I don't know the same route. Well, the audience needs to know
I was a musician, and then I got into, and then I became a sound guy. Just kidding.
Well, that's a pretty common story, but you started your journey in France.
Yes.
You're from France.
Correct. Yeah, I'm the one that. It doesn't look like it, doesn't sound like it, maybe, but I did grow up in France and with an American mother. That's why I sound so authentic American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost no accent whatsoever.
Yeah, I came to the U.S. when I was 21, and in 2005.
So did you take I know you went to, was it ESRA in France to get your...
That's right. Yeah, it's a school it's a French school. It's a cinema, and they had a audio engineering division. So it's like a 3-year program that I just did because my parents told me that I needed to do something after graduating, and I was the good kid, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to business school, but I'll do something, sure. So I did that, and man, it was just a revelation, to be honest. It was not something that, growing up that you hear about, you know what I mean? Like, you always hear the same stuff, know, and it's like, at that age, you hear about sound engineering and it's like you can do concerts or studio, and it works like, okay, yeah, done, sign me in, you know what I mean? Like, so I did that, and I did the whole 3 years, and it was awesome. I learned a lot, although I came to learn, to find out that I didn't learn much at all, actually, because being on the field, then you realize that you need to, learn the rest, which is most of it.
That's right.
And plus it's school, obviously, in school they go through everything, and then you go and specialize, right? So,
sure.
And I was immediately looking for work after graduating in France, so I knocked on all the production companies' doors, essentially, and I just got working into live. So I did live from the beginning of my career. I just did live sound, even though I was obviously pushing cases for many years.
Sure.
Yeah, just got lucky, got in with a big company early on in the south of France, and got to do some internships in the summer, unpaid, of course. And then I just had to push my way and put me on a gig, you know what I mean? And eventually I did, and then after a couple of summers, I actually came to the U.S. and then I met your brother.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, George Edwards.
Yes, sir.
I knocked on his door, and he gratefully accepted me and put me up to work. So, hey, 05, here I am, this fresh new kid.
Was this Sound on Stage?
It was at the time Sound on Stage, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Just down the street. And that was my start in the U.S. and still live sound.
Well, I know my brother's super fond of you, and we took it almost personally when you ran off to do your other work, what you do now, because you're a super dependable guy, and we would put you on, you'd do weddings with us, festival work, straight out rock and roll shows.
Yeah.
Corporate, some of the bigger corporate things we get up to, which can be, interesting and technical and a lot of rules, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. What, in your mind, is the main difference between doing corporate? Because you have a vast experience. You've done TED Talks. The difference between
TED Talks. I've never talked the TED Talks. Let's be clear.
You've done the sound for TED Talks. Yes.
Yeah.
Difference between doing the corporate work and the rock and roll shows. And do you have a preference?
Wow. Yeah, so do I have a preference? Jesus.
Oh, I do.
Well,
I'll tell you
I
that.
like the 50-50, to be honest, just because you want to mix it up, right?
Break it up,
the
sure.
fun thing, the fun moments, and you want to not be able to, not have to stay up every night until late also. Right? So there's a good, middle point. But yeah, it's a different ballgame for sure. But although it's interesting to note that if you look at the music industry in general, it's changed so much since, I've been only hearing the stories because I've only been, started since early 2000s and whatever. But we always hear the stories of how it used to be and how rock and roll used to be, and it's so different now. And
it's pretty different.
And I feel like, to be honest, even with my somewhat little experience, the two are kind of merging in a way that everything's kind of being a little more uptight, sophisticated, maybe buttoned up a little bit more. Rock and roll is not as loose as it was, and everything is very on point. And so, yeah, of course, there's a difference. Then, rock and roll is still rock and roll, but at the end of the day, there is a client who's paying a big chunk of money for an event, and it's serious. It's taken seriously nowadays. It's not, just pushing faders and make it sound, man. It's all good. It's actually, obviously, as you know, it's quite a science and a production, obviously.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
I don't. I don't know. I really like both, and that's what
You're cool with that.
What's actually one of my last gigs as a freelancer was doing a corporate event, and then there was an act at the end, and the act didn't have their sound guy, and so for days I had been mixing these talking heads in an outdoor venue, mind you, with lavs and stuff like that, and then a band showed up, but we didn't have really much time for a sound check or anything like that, and over the course of 3 days you got your stuff dialed, and then you got a band, right? And so we dialed up the band, we did the thing, and it was rough maybe for the first 30 minutes, and then it was rocking, and the house guy looks at me and is like, I thought you were just a corporate dude, and you're rocking this thing. I was like, yeah, this is my stuff. This is my jam, dude.
That's right.
And,
that's what you
so that was the perfect gig because I did both, right? It was I did music and corporate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I totally get that. I do. I know to wander around a little bit in your career, you've had a couple different stops, and you were in-house AV with Apple. The big dog.
Yeah, that was one of my last ones before going on full-time corporate. I was a broadcast engineer at Apple on site at their Infinity Loop location.
Sure.
And yeah, that was kind of cool because I had come in from the outside doing all those secret events and all these special events.
Yeah.
So I had, seen it a lot from the outside, and then having that perspective from the inside was quite interesting, to be honest. It's it's a massive company, obviously,
Yeah.
and they are really educating their employees, and they really push them for knowledge and art and everything. And so in that sense, honestly, I was quite impressed as the stuff I was exposed to, even the stuff I was mixing internally, just for broadcast or whatever. Very interesting topics. And we were busy all day. It was gig after gig,
Yeah, they always impress the hell out of me with the amount of content and shows they throw.
Absolutely.
They really are serious about entertaining the troops, about an amazing company.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at it that way, where they really want to educate their own employees and, diversification and just, have an open perspective on their job. So I'll give them props for that, for sure.
Well, I know you're happy with what you're doing. You love your work. Do you ever, I know when I kind of started doing less, being in the field, I missed it. I missed being out behind the board. And
Absolutely.
Do you find that you miss the work, some of the late nights, the camaraderie of working with the crew?
For sure. I absolutely miss it. But, I keep saying to myself that, well, yeah, I could just, a phone call away and maybe take a gig on the weekend, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I had that in the back of my mind for the longest time, but then I was just like, dude, I've been working all week and I just want to chill. But that's not to say that I have done a couple. So that's always good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have my rig at home. It's all good.
Well, I've had a lot of fun with you on show sites. You usually run in this really straight, really kind of calm, peaceful lane, chipper, upbeat. You always got you're that guy on the set, on the show.
I'm not too loud, though. I'm never really...
No. But one time we were out together it was a big show. It was I think it was for Comedy Central.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember. This was great. And it was like Chromeo and Ice Cube and Jerry Steinfeld, I think. It was Jerry Steinfeld and Kevin Hart. It was this whole to-do. It was 2 large stages, Primus.
I was monitor engineer on that.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
And and the whole time I've only seen you get upset one time. It was awesome. It was so fun. It was a
it's
Teamster,
rare. Don't promote
Teamster
that.
guy. Just that you're human, But yeah,
this guy was taking like a 20-point turn to back up the truck. It was 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, we had already been waiting because, union crew had gone on break and stuff like that. So of course there was this waiting time. We were without food and, all that good stuff.
It had been a long day, too, to be fair.
God.
That
It
was
had been long, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that was a whole
days.
thing that we did there.
And
It was considerably.
cold. Oh, my God.
It was a rough
brutal.
night that night, yeah.
And this guy, this truck driver, is just taking his sweet-ass time, pardon me, and he's just like having such a hardest time in an open parking lot to back up on the stage.
There was enough you could have landed a plane there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I lost it. Okay.
No, I know. I understand your frustration.
Hey.
I grabbed some popcorn and just enjoyed the whole. It was so good. Me and my brother we were kind of just like, get him, dude. It was perfect.
Well,
it was fun.
Bit me in the end, I guess, or a bit.
Well, it's tricky. Not really. I don't think so. Nobody was.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody was upset. I mean, there was a couple of things. Hey, remind me to tell Charlie Zaricki, sorry, it's a side note, that we love him and that we appreciate the Magic 8 Ball and the pocket references.
All right,
and,
Charlie. We love you very much.
We love this guy. He's a good friend of the show.
Can we talk about all this?
If you can ask any question you want.
What's the deal?
Well, I got to tell him, and thank you for the anti-monkey butt. This was sent as a good omen that we would need to use that because we'd be out gigging, creating monkey butt. butt, and he wanted to make sure we had the tools to deal with that. And so thank you, Charlie. We appreciate it. We hope you're feeling well, brother. Okay, so what's the question about the stuff on the table?
And I mean, really, the knives are the ones that are scaring me, actually.
What are you
Just in
frightened
case
of? You
you
know
act
me.
up.
Come
I
on.
mean, dude, they're
No,
just,
I just want you guys to remember who's running this thing, and so
The
if you know,
big desk and, you know,
right, and
center
we'll
seats,
start. We'll start first and try to
Big
talk you
desk,
out of it.
taller chair, big sign with a face on
your
it. We
face
get
on it.
So it's
This is
hard,
legit,
is
by
what
the
you're
way,
saying.
man.
It's hard to forget who's running. There are no accidents. You know, William S. Burroughs said that after he was convicted of killing his wife, and he got off on a technicality, and he said, and he came out onto the steps of the courthouse. He wrote the book Naked Lunch, nut job, crazy book, and he came out on the steps of the courthouse, and he said. They asked him. We said, "You got off on a technicality. You didn't." They're saying it was an accident. You murdered your wife, and all he said to the gathered journalists was, "I don't believe in accidents," and walked into it. It was awesome, dude. Back to the stories. Bottle Rock. When you were with Delicate with us, when we were down at Delicate with George running that place, Delicate Productions, we had a big account, one of the premier Northern California gigs.
Festivals, yeah.
And I guess it's canceled for this year, sadly, but
Yeah,
it would be happening,
already, yeah.
you know, sometime in this area. Bottle Rock, we were the kind of
True,
Bottle
yeah.
Rock
I
guy.
did that gig for like, what, 7? I think, I mean, actually, I did it for every year from its first series until the year before last, essentially. So I think it was like 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always manned the minor family stage, which was the 3rd stage.
Okay.
And it was everybody called it the chill stage.
Why?
Because we had shade. So we were already winning there.
Oh my God, yes. That place.
And
Napa-
I actually did get every other act, maybe only every other act had a front of house guy. So I got to mix.
You got to work a lot.
You know?
Yeah, do what you do.
And it was not like, acts that would just, give you shit and whatever. It was just cool vibes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was the same team every year from the very beginning.
That's right.
Same team
Very
on
consistent.
stage and everything. So, man, that was a family for sure. Love to everybody, man. I miss you guys. But yeah, those were the good days. That festival for sure was
A lot of fun.
my favorite to work every year. Unfortunately, since I started working full time, I had to turn down last year, unfortunately.
Well, you're doing another thing,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing. And
Oh, yeah.
you're taking care of the family, and you're still kind of expressing what you do and the thing, belief in audio and furthering that information and knowledge. So, yeah, that's a great thing.
Talking about Bottle Rock and getting pissed off, it reminds me, I always think about your brothers. You've heard this story, right?
Yeah, so my brother is known for having a slight minor temper. He's so less than that. He's doing so good at that nowadays.
Yeah.
He's really,
I'm
he's
sure.
got
And
new
I'm
tools in his
just
tool bag.
teasing.
But in the day, tell us
That
your
was
story.
so good.
He'll be
That
fine
was
with
so
it.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
You sure?
I'm sure. Go ahead.
It was actually like, we were kind of chilling on stage. It was between acts, or it was like maybe like the day before we actually received bands, right? So it was before the first day, and we're just chilling on stage. And for some reason, some guys, the union crew on stage, were told that nobody was allowed to smoke on stage or in the area.
That
And of
usually doesn't go over well with him.
Well,
Yeah.
So, of course, George lights a cigarette, and this random, I have to say random stage union guy comes
Knucklehead.
up and starts telling him, like, you're not supposed to do this. Okay, then it was just like switch on for George Edwards going crazy mode. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it because he was just so livid. It was actually just hilarious, and he just went on smoking a cigarette, not giving a damn, and
He got 40 years in this business. You're not going to tell him where to smoke. I'm sorry.
exactly. Especially outdoors, it was totally whatever.
Yeah.
But oh my God, that time it resonated in the whole the whole festival grounds.
Yeah, it kind of out to the staff. George just lost his mind on one of the union guys. Yeah, no. Again, he's a
Love
kinder,
the guy,
gentler.
man. Oh, man.
No. I always that's a popcorn moment too. You
Exactly.
just kick back and like, wow, this poor bastard. He didn't have any clue what he just walked into. It's a straight buzzsaw. Yeah, that's some shit.
Yeah, you don't have any idea who this guy is.
No.
Turns out he's.
Oh, it's a part. We come from the old school where there was a time when you pushed back real hard,
I know.
And then there's a difference between the rock and roll and the corporate, And
Like I
we
said,
have guys that
things
deal with our corporate.
changed.
They have indeed, and we came up with we're kind of analog kids, and a punk rock scene. Me and my brother came up in the punk rock thing, so it was very normal to mix it up on a show site, and every so often maybe roll around in the mud a little bit. And some fisticuffs. I won't lie. I think some of these tools have gotten me through my career, the brass knuckles particularly, because it was harder. It was a different thing. When we came up, we would collect the money. We'd drive the gear. We'd set the stage. We'd do the whole thing. And and so sometimes you got to break out the not so welcome well again. Hey, listen, you've been doing this for a long time. And you're living amongst this unique time we're in. The politics are wacky, the police are wacky, there's bug in the air. I know you're particularly mindful of that, and I respect that, and I understand that. We try to do our thing with the sound image mask. We were wearing masks before we took the show because it messed with us.
We're being safe.
Yeah, we're trying to be safe, and
we want to go back to work. I want you guys to go back to work.
You're right. It's the way to
Me too.
get
I definitely want to go back to work. Let's wear masks. Is that what we do?
Well, we mention this once in a while. I don't want to talk pandemic politics, but I bet you when it does come back, they're going to be in the mix somehow, and it'll probably be outdoor stuff first, and so fingers crossed. I just want to plug in microphones and make loud noises, so I don't care what the path is as long as it makes sense and my chick's cool with it, and being around enough people where she's still hang out with me. We're kind of in the same boat on that one, brother. And I get it. I totally get it. But tell me, so with your vast years of experience and being a daddy too, what's your thought on the future? Do you have an idea what's going to happen? Some people are talking as far out as early next year before we do something.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Music and like rock shows are definitely going to take a little bit to come back. I think we're going to be able to maybe do more corporates before everything comes back to normal and like music shows come back. I'm really hoping that at least corporations and like these corporate gigs still happen because they have their internal meetings. They have these like all hands like we've always done, and like all these internal meetings or even external. I'm really hoping that will come back. Honestly, I mean, September, October, I'm just really wishing, honestly. I can't say that I'm seeing music come back until next year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's your thing.
And it really sucks. But I mean, we got to get this thing nailed down, it's complicated and nobody's got the answer, obviously.
No.
So I mean, who am I to say when things are going to come back to normal?
I don't think we can, but that's why I think Charlie sent us the 8-ball was to anything to help. We've
well, let's shake it.
You want to? Okay.
Give her a shake.
Well, we'll be back before the end of the year. Magic 8-ball, help us with this question. Let me see. Oh, it's one of those things where it's kind of up on its angle there.
Okay.
Yeah, cheating little bastard. So, not likely.
Oh my God.
Throw it away.
Charlie, why did you send me this ball,
away.
Charlie? Reaching out from Michigan to smack me around, I swear to God, nothing's changed.
Oh, man. Well, that's the truth.
Yeah, it knows things, and we have to heed that. I could talk to you forever. I really do appreciate you coming out to the show.
That's great, man. It's great seeing you. Even when I did stop freelancing, I haven't seen you. It's been a while.
It's been about 18 months, maybe.
I know.
It was
right?
like not last season. kind of tail end of the season.
But it was as if it were yesterday that you would just be screaming at me because I'm walking away when you're still loading trucks.
The screaming, I struggle when you characterize it as screaming. It's yelling with intention. It's speaking loudly.
I know.
It's always love. There's always the love between us. Come on
Otherwise,
now.
you wouldn't say anything. You'd
No,
say behind my back.
I didn't care. It'd be like, oh, there goes Seb. Bye-bye, Seb.
Yeah.
No, it was never. I always I just wanted to stay a little longer every time.
But you just let me know.
Yeah,
It's all
I
good.
will. I will.
It
It's
was all
love. Again, thanks for coming out, my brother.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Yeah.
I appreciate you, sir. We got training coming up next week. You're going to take care of. You're going to do that.
I think so. Yeah.
Thanks
yeah,
for
I'll
being
be in and out Monday. You want to come through the shop? Anybody, come on through. I'll be here.
I believe you're going to spend a little time with Mr. Greg Price, flexing your chops in his lab. That was the last thing I had heard.
Yeah.
And that is good time.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. I think that's like a big one. That's another huge one.
You're going to hang out with Greg Price and do, Ozzy's guy, everybody's guy, really. Jules' guy.
You talk about education.
Yeah.
You got two really good people here that offer online teachings themselves.
Oh, you're talking about in-house?
Yeah,
You're talking
Diablo
about Brad
Digital.
Maddox and Greg Price of
Yeah,
Diablo Digital.
and you got
Amazing.
Truth and Audio right here as well. You got Bernie right down the road. So,
Bernie is an endless fountain of information. Bernie is incredible. And we're going to have actually Mr. Broderick out here again, former co-host and great, great close friend. Love the man. He'll be back. He's got, how he is. He's always working and doing crazy new things and, building. He's working on a sub right now and I think kind of a line array thing, new sub. And so I have heard the sub. It's freaking amazing with his 8 inches. Oh my God.
I haven't heard him yet.
Are we going to turn these on?
Huh? What's that?
Are we going to turn these on?
Turn what? Oh, yeah. Okay, and also Bernie, just I guess the elephant in the room. Bernie also designed these behind us. These are EAW Anya's badass flagship speaker for Anya. Amazing adaptive technology.
I feel like we're at Infocom or something.
Well, I love this. I put it up. I have a lot of choices to choose from.
I know.
And I chose this because it's the most distinctive speaker on the game. I mean, come on. What? That's a little Ferrari back there. The curves on this thing is sick. The abilities, what it can actually do, are a whole nother story. Incredible system. This was Tom Petty's rig and others. But yeah, it's a great system. And Bob Scoville hot rodded the shit out of this thing. And it's a real treat. We're lucky to have it. I got to thank the people that do this with me. I really appreciate all of you. Shauna for coming out. A couple of the people checking in with us. We got Michael. We got, what is this? Starita and of course
Starita.
Charlie and
Thank you, brother.
Electro Funkadelic. I know who that is. We're lucky to have you guys watching. We really appreciate it. We do this for you. It's so we can talk to our friends and we can hang out with you for a few minutes, and we like that very much. I couldn't get it done without my good friend and partner Michael Brown. Seriously, I just couldn't get it done. I just sit here and say stuff, and he makes it all work. And I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Michael. You're the best, man. And my co-host, this great guy, good friend, and seriously, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being out here and continue with the mission.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you, baby. And we're gonna keep telling these kids where they can find information and things they can keep themselves busy with.
That's right. I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
We're trying to find shit to do.
That's right.
This is a great start for it. Hopefully, we'll have some more
busy.
stuff to talk about in the near future.
Well,
with
and
this setup in
when we
particular.
do talk about it, the nearest future for us coming that we have is Mr. Robert Scoville.
Oh,
Def
can't
Leppard
wait.
fame. Again, I just mentioned Tom Petty. It's really who hasn't he done? He's kind of
You know what?
a legend in our business.
We've been having a weekly meeting with him for, I don't even know now, 2 months? Yeah,
Great
good-
teacher to boot. Yeah, he works
great
with
dude.
Avid, and he's. I mean, if you're going to learn, really, I'm not just saying this. You're going to learn the how to operate a board between Robert Scoville, Greg Price, and Brad Maddox. I mean, that's the trifecta of
Avid.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus
seriously.
Christ.
Trifecta.
So that's.
And you
about as
got to
good as it
mention
gets.
Ryan Ojohn's been a great support for all of us in our back end questions.
He's
when-
the phone call away guy. I
We
mean,
need him,
when
you
you
know?
guys when something jumps off and Brian Ryan Ojon is the first guy that I know everybody picks up the phone and calls, and he's amazing. And we would love to have him on the show. I want to reach out to him. We got Osiris Henry reaching out to us. What's up, buddy? And Clint Wisely, now good friend. Clint is he does the magic shit in the Asian market. I'm talking about like 300 venues and across Asia. That guy's he's up in Vancouver right now. Clint, we love you, baby. Be safe in the boat. Great guy. We absolutely got to get him on, and of course our good friend Patrick Eigenman, our Swiss guy. He would be mad about it. I don't think I'm allowed to call him our Swiss friend.
Don't call him a Swede. That's rude.
I don't. We always mix up Sweden and Switzerland, and you don't do that with them. They get really touchy about it. I totally understand it.
How many Swedes do you know that knows German?
Pat, I know Pat.
Well, there you go. So be nice.
Yeah, oh, I love him. He's one of our main guys. I mean, he's great, and he's been coming in for the training too.
I just saw him yesterday, right, or the day before.
I believe it was the day before. He came in and spent a bunch of time on the 6L, and he's just kicking that thing's ass and making it do amazing things. And we want to thank Susie Dugan. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, come back Thursday, 7 p.m. We can't do it without Sound Image Productions and our leader, George Edwards. Thank you, George. We appreciate you allowing us in here. And Dave Shadone, the one and only, the CEO of Southern California Sandwich. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks.
And our good friends provide us support with the cameras and technology over at LSV. That's large screen video, folks. If you want to put on a big ass LED wall, you call John Rigney at Large Screen Video. He's the man. And with our masks and our different things, the good people over at slowfiber.com, they help us make masks. And so our people down south can, work in our shops, and our shops up here, we all have our little mask and do our thing, and that's with the help of slowfiber.com. Thank you so much. Again, we got Robert Scoville next week, so please tune in 7 p.m. Thursday, and we'll have another show. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.